All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to our Saturday discussion. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. So each week on Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will have a discussion group for the the June cohort of 2024. So this is the Certificate in Happiness Study Program, and my name is Ben. I am leading this group discussion in hope to exercise the spiral theory of knowledge, where we circling back to the material that we got to learn from the MA in Happiness Studies. And the goal is that as we revisiting all of the material, we will gain a greater understanding of these teaching. And this is also an opportunity for us to exercise the three R's of change for a long-lasting change. And the three R's of change are reminder, repetition, and ritual, right? So the more we reminding ourselves, the more we exercising these knowledge, the more that we can apply and gain great result from these teaching and these practices. So with that, I would like to thank you for joining us, because this is a journey and we need our fellow journeyer to go with us on this journey, because together we can learn from each other. We will be able to create an upward spiral of learning. And the best way to learn is to teach. And the best way to teach is by learning from each other. So this is a great platform for us to do just that. All right. So this week we are starting uh, chapter 8 or week 8 of the semester A, Introduction to Happiness Studies. And we are going to discuss the first part of the first physical principle, P1, stated that mind and body are connected, right? So for those who are not familiar with the program, happiness studies define happiness as whole being. And we use the SPIRE model, which stands for spiritual well-being, physical well-being, intellectual well-being, relational well-being, and emotional well-being. And those uh, combines to be the five element of the SPIRE model. And as we cultivating the five element, we fulfilling the whole being element. And with those six, we have two principle each, and that add together to be 12 principle of the SPIRE model. And last week we completed the second spiritual principle, and that is a great introduction to this week lecture from Dr. Tavin Shah. And we are going to have our discussion on the idea that mind and body are connected. So let's get to it. And again, this is a discussion, right? So I am sharing my I ams, which is something that I find interesting, actionable, and meaningful, and I hope to hear from you as well. So 8.1, we get to learn about the duality mindset. So what is duality? What is dualism? Okay. So in order to understand dualism, um, the expert tell us that dualism is the belief that the mind and body are separate and distant entity, And this idea popularized by Rene Descartes, and he has a profound influence on Western thought and medical practices. And this lead to a division between mental and physical health, right? So in Western thinking, we have the physical health. So people would go to, let's say, a clinic or a doctor office to help with their injury or something that their body need attention to. And then we have the field of psychology, which study the mind, the mental state, or the mental health of a person. And throughout history, dualism not only advocated by Descartes, but also has rooted in philosophy of Plato and further developed by Immanuel Kant. However, Eastern philosophy has generally recognized the mind and the body as interconnected. So 8.1 introduced the idea that mind and body are connected. This is very, very important because what we have in our mind can greatly influence our body and vice versa. So these two parts, instead of seeing it as two separate entities, it is important for us to see it as two elements of the same entity. And this has been proven through many, many research study, and it is extremely important for us to take care of both the mind and the body. So throughout the four-part lecture and many, many of the reading that you might have studies, we will get to see the importance and the connection between the mind and the body. So this week is a great introduction to the idea of the dualistic mindset of how uh, we needed to combine the exercise of the mind and the body to to have a holistic mindset, right? And by adapting the holistic mindset, we will be able to seeing the mind and the body as one interconnected system. And this approach is crucial for addressing complex health issues, and it will also help us achieve whole being, which in happiness study we define happiness as whole being. Okay. So the psychologist and the medical doctor, they definitely need to work together to help us gain a better, a more holistic health. So that is the main the main topic, the key point that I would love to discuss today. And I think there is no greater introduction than the story that was shown in 8.2 regarding Mr. Roger Bannister and the Green Mile. So this story, you might have heard it before. So me personally, I got to read Mr. Roger Bannister's story in one of the self-help book, and the story of Mr. Roger Bannister has been taught in many many workshop, in many business seminar, because through this story we can understand the importance of exercising not only the body but the mind. Okay, so the background of the story is that in early 1950, people believe, not just people, like even the expert, even the doctor and the scientists, everyone believe that it is impossible to accomplish 1 mile run under 4 minutes. Right. So for my friends who is not living in the US, 1 mile is equal to 1.6 kilometer, and that is pretty long distance. And in order to have a better idea of how long or how far that is, imagine sitting in a stadium in a soccer game or in an American football game. So you will see the track and field, the track like going around the soccer field. And if you were to complete one track around the soccer field, that is the equivalent of a quarter of a mile or 400 meter. Okay? So in order to run 1 mile under 4 minutes, um, a person has to go around the soccer field 4 times. So that is the equivalent of running less than 1 minute for each of the round around the soccer field. And that is 60 seconds, right? I think the last time that I tried it, it took me about 2 or 3 minutes to finish, and it was pretty tiring after I finished like one run around the soccer field, right? So running 1 mile under 4 minutes, that is a very, very admirable accomplishment. And in the early 1950s, it was thought that it is impossible. It was impossible to run 1 mile under 4 minutes. The fastest athlete at that time uh, try, and he couldn't break the 1 mile under 4 minutes. I think his record was 4 minutes and 1 second something. Right. Yeah. Thanks, Chiali. Uh, the reason I knew this is because when I first came over to the US, my friend invited me to join a track and field after school activity. And back then I was pretty athletic. I used to play basketball for the school back in Vietnam, so I thought I was pretty good. And the first day of track and field, we had to run around the American football, and it was 1 mile, which means we had to run through that track 4 times. And I thought that was it, but then as soon as I finished it, and it took me like 15 or 16 minutes, and people tell me that that was just a warm up, and then we had to run for another 6 mile, and that was terrible. But that's how like I remember the distance because it was pretty traumatizing experience. But back to the story. The fastest, the best athlete at that time, prior to the event of Mr. Roger Bannister, he tried it. He didn't. He wasn't able to do it. And all of the experts started to do research, started to prove that it was in fact impossible to run 1 mile under 4 minutes. They looked at how the joint of the knees come together, how the body weight and the capacity of the lung, and how that was impossible for someone to maintain that speed for for 4 minutes straight. And people thought that that was it. It was just something that was impossible to do. And for some reason, at that time, Mr. Roger Bannister, who was a an undergrad student, he was taking his MA program, I believe, at Oxford. And even though he was just an amateur in track and field in running, but he for some reason he just knew that he can do it. He just knew that the 1 mile under 4 minutes is possible. And of course, when he tell that to his friend and other people, he people thought that he was crazy. People make fun of him, but he didn't. He didn't give up on the idea. In fact, he believed in it so much that he make an announcement that he is going to do the impossible. And in 1954, in one of the event at his university, I believe, Mr. Roger Bannister was able to do the impossible, which finished completed the 1 mile at 3 minutes 59 seconds plus. So it's barely under 4 minutes. He was able to do the impossible. And later on, Mr. Roger Bannister became a neuroscientist. And when the case of Mr. Roger Bannister was studied, the expert found out that not only he exercised his body, right? Not only he take a weekly run to get his body ready, but most importantly, he also exercise in his mind. He see the image of him get to the finish line very clearly, and he had a plan in his mind of what he wanted to do, what he should do during that run, and each of the steps he needed to take in order to break that 4 minute mile. And he was able to materialize the vision that he had. But the story doesn't stop there. What is amazing about this story is that prior to this event, nobody thought that it was possible. No one dared to try it again. But as soon as Mr. Roger Bannister was able to make history, as soon as he was able to break this record, within just a few months, there are many professional athletes. Not only was able to break the 4 minute mile, they was able to break Mr. Roger Bannister record. Within the matter of just 3 years, we have hundreds of people who was able to did the same thing, right? 1 mile under 4 minutes. So the question that we should really ask ourselves is that why was it that nobody was able to do what Mr. Roger Bannister did? Why is it that just a short time after he was able to accomplish it, we see many people who was able to run 1 mile under 4 minutes, right? So isn't that a limiting belief that uh, stopped other people from accomplishing their dream? And this is a very powerful story. When we have our belief in the impossible, we will be able to do it. And not only that, the fact that Mr. Roger Bannister was able to did the impossible, it allows many people in the world to do the same thing. Okay. So for me personally, I can be very relatable to Mr. Roger Bannister's story in our journey of materialize happiness as well-being, because it might sound very impossible to many people, but as us, the pioneers of this moment, can acquire happiness as well-being, I believe many people in the world will be able to do the same thing. In fact, I felt like we are doing that, because happiness study is all over the world as we speak, and we are growing. So we are in the middle of something very unique, in the sense that we are the first to well, I guess one of the very first to walk this journey to popularize the idea. And this proved that mind over matter is a real thing, because once we can break through that mental barrier, then we officially remove the limit of our physical body, right? And this is providing us the idea of holistic mindset, because we have got to we have got to exercise both our mind and our body, so that uh, that combination of exercising the mind and exercising the body can bring a much greater result. And with that, I would love to hear from everyone, um, your thought on this as well, because I think this topic is very very important, one that we can explore even further. So you can write your thought on the chat like Chiolin did, or you can also raise your hand if you would like to share your realization on this topic, or if you have any question, or do you have uh, any I guess accomplishment that is similar to the story of Mr. Roger Bannister. So to me personally, I the lesson that I have learned from the the 1 mile dream mile is not just the mind, the body, uh, connection, but also the key to accomplishing the impossible, or the key to materialize the goal, the dream that you want to get to. Because in the case of Mr. Roger Bannister, he was able to clearly see the end result, the goal that he wanted to get to. And by knowing the destination, Mr. Roger Bannister was able to comes up with a plan. You can see clearly each of the milestones that he need to accomplish in order to realize his goal. And this, I believe, to be the key to accomplish any goal in that you want to accomplish. Because I see the similar pattern in a success story, like the success story of Bill Gates in building Microsoft, or the story of Jeff Bezos in building uh, his Amazon empire. Because they everything start with a vision. They see the vision, they know that it is possible, they know that they are a part of it, and then when they have a clear idea of where that destination is, the path toward the destination start to be clearer in their mind. And this is very much related to an example that Dr. Talvin Shahar introduced in the first week of the happiness study program. And the example that Tao gave was, imagine that we are lost in the middle of valley, and surrounding us are mountaintop, and there's only one mountaintop that has water and edible fruit. So in order to get to that mountaintop, we gotta know how it looked like, so we can form like a path of how to get there. So happiness is kind of like that. We have to know how it looks like. We have to know some of it information, and by having a clear idea of the destination, then we can get there, right? So this holistic mindset can can help us gain a clear idea of where we are going and and how to get there. And we understand that we have to exercise continuous improvement. This is kind of like what we are doing right now, right? Having an open discussion so that we can implement the holistic mindset. We can integrate in both the mental and the physical practices, and that will help us reach our full potential. And another important point that I want to make in 8.2 is that we can keep learning simple by learning from the pioneers like Mr. Roger Bannister, right? Because by learning their wisdom and exploring the mind body connection, the practice and their success, we are standing on the shoulder of giant, and by doing that, our vision expand, and that shorten our learning process. We don't have to do the trial and error like many people did. We can just simply learn from those who has done it. And I see the great value in happiness study because Dr. Tab and Shah had simplified, condensed the material and provide us the best of the best. And and by having this discussion, we can understand it at a much deeper level. So, well, that is all that I have to share for 8.2. The importance of having the holistic mindset, the importance of having that system thinking. All right. Okay. So that's is 8.1 and 8.2. Um, I see Jilling raise her hand. Feel free to unmute yourself, Jilling.
Is my sound voice okay?
Yes, I can hear it.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Sorry for I am a little bit late, and thank you for your sharing. Because when you're sharing all the story about Roger Bannister, and also sharing your experience in the sports, and it also reminds me of this organic body. It's like this organic body is the first time that coming to Earth, and it was supposed there is no like map because we didn't know what is going on or like how it gonna develop. But how will I have some certain of like thinking or some thoughts that's thinking that it should be like doing something or I'm unable to do so. Yeah. So yeah, and that echoes to what you have just mentioned, that we are probably limited by what I thought, and those thoughts could also come from things that I learned from my parents, or things that probably I try and I fail for the experience, but it's I haven't overcome, but I stopped before I achieve another stage. Yeah, so and that is a great reminding to myself that when I saw something, telling myself, like I there will be one inner me tell me that, well, I won't do this. So that makes me nervous or like anxious and things like that. And I can, at this time, I can probably like ask for a pause or a little while and then think this over and see how it goes. Yeah. And the other part is for the mind connecting to the body as a as the binary how do you say the two like separate two things, and then it actually is a holism a holistic. And that also, yeah, that's also remind me that even though we can use the mind and like, yeah, make the imaginary of what I'm gonna do at the very end, at the very end when I run, like in the running race. And the other part is very so essential is the action, because that also remind me that uh, I when I play the video game and with my niece, and they spend much longer time than I do, and sometimes I play with them and just try to like understand how it works, and but their parents always blame. They are like staying there too long. So and it also like connects me that that actually is it's probably a process of mental imaginary, because we can do like extra things. And if we want to try something else that connect to this world, like a physical, more physical world, probably the action on the body would also need to be connected. Not only the mind part. Mind is great, and we know it gonna manifest and help something to help us to motivate something. But when it doesn't connect to the body, there's struggling started. So it also remind me that not only thinking I want to do that exercise, probably I can do it right now. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for the sharing. And yeah, it just remind me a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And just the connection between the mind and the body is a very, very interesting one, because if we really think about it, if we were to make an observation around us, in our world, everything that we have today used to exist in somebody's mind, right? Someone has to have an idea about it, and then they make it possible. They materialize the idea in their mind, like the computer that I am using right now, or maybe the phone that you are using right now. It used to be an idea, it used to be a thought. So, what is in the mind is the result of a distant future. So the mind is very, very, very interesting. And by not separate the mind and the body, we will be able to accomplish great things. Because, like what you explained or sharing earlier, if you have an idea and not act on it, right, then it's just an idea. It will never materialize. But if we have the idea and then we act on it, we work on it, and we will achieve a result. So in the story of Mr. Roger Bannister, he was the one that believed in the possibility of running 1 mile under 4 minutes. And by having that thought, he comes up with a plan of how to get there, what exercise he needed to do, how he should exercise the mind to see the result clearly. And he executed. And I would like to borrow the story of Mr. Bill Gates in relating to the connection between the mind and the body. And the story of Bill Gates is that he had a vision, he had a dream that computer will be available for every single household. Computer will be everywhere, because he was so inspired by the capability of the computer back then, which is a machine. And not only that, at a very young age, he realized that in order for a computer to function properly, or in order for them to be useful, they have to have a software to operate. So in his mind, he has a very clear vision, and he was working toward that vision, even though the expert at that time thought that it was pretty ridiculous to have computer as large as a living room space and as expensive as a couple of millions of dollars in the 70s and in the 80s. But Mr. Bill Gates was able to hold on to his dream. He see the end goal, and he working toward that goal, toward creating Microsoft. And he did the impossible. He became the youngest self-made billionaire, and for a long time, he was one of the richest people in the world. And imagine if he wasn't being sued by the U.S. government on how I think they argued that Microsoft was exercising a form of monopoly, and that's stopping Microsoft from growing. And since then, right, since the early 90s, when Bill Gates and Microsoft got into that trouble, we started to see many young billionaire started to appear, and all of them work in software. All of them work on the expansion of the internet, like Amazon, like Facebook, Google, and many others. So imagine if Bill Gates can continue what he did in the 70s and the 80s, he is very likely to have that monopolizing monopoly in the entire industry. So, but the point I want to make is not that. The point I want to make is mind over matter. Whatever we have in our mind, we can materialize it. And Bill Gates is another story proving that. And similar to Mr. Roger Bannister, Bill Gates were able to break the limiting belief of the entire world. Because prior to that, the idea of a young self-made billionaire was pretty much impossible, right? People was looking for being a millionaire, but not too many people had the idea of a 20 years old making billions of dollars. Bill Gates were able to do it, and later on in the late 90s, early 2000, we have many of these similar cases. So there is a great relationship between the mind and body, the uh, the accomplishment that one can do. And related that to happiness study, I think we are the pioneers of this movement. Uh, People might not believe it at first, but I think eventually this will be common knowledge, right? And I'm saying this with confidence because I spend a great deal of time in learning, in making observation with on the most successful people in the world. Like they may have a lot of money in the hundreds of millions, but they suffering. They don't have a purpose in life when they reach that very top, and they have to go to rehab and stuff to find meaning, to find balance, to find purpose in life. And they could have just take the certificate of happiness study to gain a better understanding of it. So this is a part of the reason that I am investing a lot of time in happiness study because I know that this will help me be happier, and this movement will help many people be happier, and they are needing it. So let's move on to 8.3, mind over matter. So after we understand the connection between mind body, we can see that our belief, right, can have great impact on our physical performance. And the story of Mr. Roger Bannister breaking the 4-minute mile highlight belief can limit or enhance physical performance. So we do have a choice between limiting our physical performance or overcome the limit, enhance our physical belief in performance with simply believing it. And not only believing, we also have the ability to actually visualize the result that we want to accomplish. We can mentally rehearse success in our mind, and that will enhance our physical performance. Extremely important. And I, this has been proven in many studies. I think one of the studies that I have read is um, a study on practicing piano in our mind can increase our capability of playing the actual instrument, right? So visualization, belief, and exercise mentally can actually uh, bring in great result. And I think it is extremely important to do that. And in the story of Mr. Roger Bannister, we also see the importance of overcoming mental barrier because for hundreds and thousands of years, people thought it was impossible to break the 4-minute mile. But as soon as a person was able to do it, then the entire world also overcome that mental barrier. And all of the things that we have discussed from the beginning until now, tell us that we need to have a holistic approach when it comes to both mind and body. Yes, she really say that it's remind me of the rehabilitation tool that apply in the struggle in your patient. Absolutely right. And I don't know if we have this in the GM Plus or GM Plus Plus or in future material, but I know that there are intervention for stroke patient or people who happen to be in a car accident that needed to exercise their mind. Music is a great pathway to help with their mind body connection. So definitely you can see that point between the um, the mind, the body, right? So um, I think there's another important point regarding emotion and physical wellness, and this we will get to learn later on as well. But since we are in the middle of this, I would like to share that story. And I forgot the name of the physician, but his expertise was helping people who have physical injury, whether it is from sport or from car accident. So he would help his patient with the bodily pain, right? And throughout his year, he realized something very interesting that he often had patient who was not involved in a car accident or a sport injury, but they still come to his clinic to get treated. And they reported to have like lower back pain and, like pain on the shoulder. And later on, he realized that it wasn't bodily harm, but it was more because of the mental state that they was in. So in the case of having lower back pain, we often find that uh, in men who recently had to care for their newborn, right? So all of that worry, all of that uh, overwhelming emotion can actually manifest as physical pain. Therefore, the way to treat it is not treating the body, but rather in cases like that, uh, the expert, the doctor need to help with the mind. And that doctor wrote a book. And the amazing thing about that book is that when people read that book, they reported that their pain, their physical pain actually went away. They healed themselves just by reading that book. So super, super amazing that they was able to do that. And I am very appreciative of the knowledge that we learned here because it is backed by science. It is backed by many research story. So when we read about this and when we apply, we know that it will work. And this is the importance of happiness study over the cell development or the new age, where people have shared about the idea that has not been backed by science and that might drifted them further away from the truth. So I'm not saying that those knowledge are wrong. It's just I personally feel more secure when we standing on the concrete fact that has been backed by science. And the next point that I would like to discuss is the placebo effect. For those who learn in medical, will get to learn about the placebo effect, and you will be familiar with this placebo effect. The placebo effect is the belief that not the belief, but the finding that the belief in efficacy of treatment can lead to real physical improvement. And this highlighting the power of the mind. Okay. So the story goes that in during World War II, uh, many soldiers was injured, and there wasn't enough medicine to go around to treat all of the injured soldier. And the doctor decided to give patient sugar pill, I believe, because they don't want to having to tell the soldier that they couldn't help the injured soldier due to not having enough resources. But the amazing thing that the doctor find in that in during that time is that even though the medicine is not real, right? But the soldier reported to feel better because in their mind they thought that they really took that medicine. They really believe that they are getting help and they really believe that they are getting better compared to when they wasn't treated. Okay. So not a real pill, but have a real effect, having a real physical improvement. And that is only half of the story. The other half of the story is placebo without deception, right? Which means that even when the patient know that the pill is not real, even though the patient know that the pill cannot help them with their injury, but the action of taking the pill actually help them get better because it has an effect at an unconscious level. Okay. So consciously they are aware of the fake pill, but in the back of their mind, subconsciously, the body believe that it has taken the pill and the pill will do what they supposed to do, which is help them feel better. So through that belief, it materialized and their body is getting better. And this proved a very important point in 8.3 in the title Mind Over Body, because what we believe, what we have in our mind will materialize and we can see that effect on our body. Very, very powerful. And this remind me of a movie that I watched. I forgot what the name of the movie, but it was about this strange event happened somewhere in the ocean, and there was a lot of horrible thing happen. And toward the end of the movie, we have the experts dive down in the deep of the ocean, and they found a uh, a spacecraft, and they thought it was an alien spaceship, right? And they explore it, and then during that exploration, there were just so many things that was going wrong, and at the end, the the very last survivor realized that it was not an alien spaceship, but rather a uh, a ship, a spaceship made by humans sometime in the future. And in that ship, there's this one device that can make whatever you believe to come true. Okay. So people could have had the choice to believe in good things and good things happen. Everything would be beautiful. But instead, they gave in fear. And that devices causes all of the disaster from the spaceship crash and then the people who was involved in that exploration uh, die horrifically. So that is another great concept related to the placebo effect and the mind over body, right? So if we were to take a step further from the fact that we have seen in Mr. Roger Bannister case, the fact that we have seen in the story of Bill Gates, and the fact that we have seen in the placebo effect, we can see that it is very much true that what we have in our mind determine the outcome that we see right here in the physical world. Therefore, a happier mind will materialize happier reality. And this is another important, very, very important point that we need to understand in living in our life, the importance of the happiness movement, because the happiness energy, right? The happier place that we have in our mind, it will eventually present itself in this physical world. And there's so much to talk about in this idea, in this topic, that I would love to hear your thought on the entirety of the mind over matter. right? The story of Mr. Roger Bannister, and most importantly, the placebo effect. So if you have any realization or any interesting fact regarding the story of Mr. Roger Bannister or the placebo effect of how placebo effect can happen without deception, I would love to hear your sharing as well before we move on to 8.4. All right. And again, you can type it on the chat or you can, oh, Jasmine, raise your hand. Feel free to unmute yourself, Jasmine.
Hello, Ben. Hello, everybody. I just want to make a comment on the power of the play placebo effect. I just feel that without medicine, let's say like religion or ray leader in the world, they somehow are the medicine. Whatever they talk, people believe, and because of that, um, they recruit a lot of people under them, and together they create something amazing and beautiful. So, um, so that is something that now and then I have to tell myself to be able to overcome situation. Just like I can be my own leader and I can tell myself to overcome something in life. Just like using the principle of the playful effect. Um, so yeah, it's weird, but that's how I realize we can change something by just overcome something in our mind. And if we can do it, we can achieve it. We can share with other people, and because we have achieved things or situation or sickness, like overcome it, now we share our story to other people, and it just that instantly people would uh you know up, just not apply, but maybe they would apply into their life because we are the walking talking example, and we have achieved it. Therefore they believe it and they apply exactly like whatever we do, and they overcome their situation or sickness as well. um so that's how the leader was born. We have to somehow believe in it and experience the situation, overcome it, and share with other people, and everything become true. Talking about that, I'm thinking about the example of the monkey number 100. Um, I got told by this example when I was in my 20, um, something about, like there's there's a test on a monkey island where the monkey wash I think a yarn kind of like purple potato or like yarn some the monkey tried to wash that the potato and eat it instead of like eating raw without washing it, and other monkeys see it too. So the whole island starts spreading, the idea that you have to wash like the yarn, the potato before eating it. So the whole island start applying the same way of washing potato before eating it. And by the time that the whole island start doing that, the next island somehow got the information and do the same thing. So all of the monkey in the nearby island do the exact way. So I got told about that story when I was in my early 20 without knowing, like without paying much attention about it until recently. I heard about that story again and this playboy effect. I thought to myself that there's something about it and it had to start from someone. And if that someone is me, then what would be the secret? Would it be that I have to be like I have to believe in what I do and do it without thinking about it and become like the real example about what I do, of what I do, and because of what I do, working so well, then doesn't matter if it's really happen or not, but it's because it worked for me. Therefore, it's going to maybe work for someone else, and because of that, people start doing exactly what I do, and it's just like um become the playboy effect, but placebo effect. Um, I'm just like roaming right now, but thank you for listening, and I just want to share what I have in my mind. Thank you, Ben, and everybody for listening.
Thank Jasmine. I want to address the Jasmine question and sharing before I get to chilling. So my understanding from the research of monkey on the island of how they know how to wash the potato is about desire. Okay, so when we have a desire of achieving or accomplish something, then idea will come to us. We will have the information to utilize what we desire. And I don't know how many people here have watched the movie The God Must Be Crazy. It is a very funny, popular movie in the 90s. And in the first movie, I believe it was in 91. In the beginning of the movie, there was this airplane fly over Africa, and the pilot he was drinking this Coca-Cola bottle, right? And he after he completed the bottle, he just tossed it out of the window, out of the airplane, and the bottle happened to fell near a uh, a uncontacted tribe, and because they live in the jungle for a long time, they don't have any contact with modern civilization. They didn't know what the bottle was, and they thought it was a gift from God. So they start to give it meaning. They think that this is something very important because it it was a gift from God. So they started to figure out what to do with this mystical, you know, piece. And in the beginning of the movie, it was so funny. People have so many uh, way to utilize a bottle. Some people use it to wash clothes. Some people in the tribe use it as a musical instrument, and then some other use it to make desire on their clothes. And people was fighting to to have the bottle so that they can use it. But the story go longer. But what I want you to focus on is how an empty bottle which was trash to the pilot because he only interested in the drink contain a bottle. But when the bottle get to this tribe of about 20 people, they are so creative. Ideas just come to them because they have the desire to use that empty bottle of Coca-Cola. So this is a story about how the desire in your mind can material to utility to something that can be very, very useful. And I want to relate this to what Jasmine wanted to share earlier about the island where monkey learned how to wash the tomato or the potato before they eat it. So when you have a desire with something, the universe will conspire to make that happen for you. Very, very powerful. And this is go a little bit beyond mind over matter. Okay. So this is the power of dream, power of wants to achieve something. So in the beginning, you might not know what to do, but just by simply having the desire to make it possible, idea will come, and that idea will materialize over time. And as I shared earlier, my observation is that everything that we have in the world right now is used to exist in somebody's mind. And we call them the inventor, right? Computer, cell phone, the shoes that we are wearing, the bed that we are sleeping on, the telephone, every single one of it used to exist in someone's mind. And that is the true power, I believe. We are a lot more powerful than we think. And by accepting the connection, the interconnectedness of the mind and the body in this lesson, we will be able to achieve something very, very amazing. And that is something that expand further in 8.4 titled The Thinker, which is a statue that was made. And then The Thinker is also the title of one of the very powerful poems. But before I move on to that, Chilling, can you ask the question again? Because I wasn't sure what you mean by Jasmine mentioned about sharing and action and mind power.
Yeah, thank you for Jasmine's sharing, and I love the when you are saying that when we know these great process and that is within our body, and it's also important to like being that the first monkey that demonstrate or like show it's not showing but he's just do what he has observed and learned. Yeah, and that also reminds that also from the other perspective could be like it's from like knowing because he was the monkey was seeing the seeing from somewhere or either he tried by himself and he then later on he put it in action like he's doing repeating and doing it. So that's like from mind that is connected to the body, the physical side, like make it into action. That's why when I wrote the sentence that when I hear Jasmine's talking about the sharing part. Yeah, even no matter which role you are, either a leader or the top management, in the enterprise, yeah, those sharing are part of the physical actions that is being mentioned previously, like in 8.2 or 1. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's an important observation and learning through that observation. So I also see Victoria and Nicholson. Would you like to share something, Victoria?
Yes. Hi, Ben. Hi,
Hello.
everyone. Thank you for bringing this out the topic. This one is very important one because normally we believe that everything in the material world has no relationship with the invisible one or the spiritual one. But in fact, as to our example, we can see that the power of our mind is very, very important. And we even could say that the mind creates everything. Because take as an example, if we want to build a house, we need to have an idea of what the house look like. And even before that, we need to have a design to have a house and the design to have our own home. So everything, whatever action we take, whatever even our speech, if you want to take to talk about our opinion, we need to have a design before we actually speak up. So the power of the mind is very important, and we can even say that the mind is a creator of everything. And we talk about how design can motivate us to engage in action so that we can accomplish our goal. For example, building a house, going to the university, getting married, or being successful, picking a job, being successful in our career. Everything requires a design. So the design here, actually, what is Tan Ben Shahar mentioned about John Sagno, I feel is very significant, because in terms of our mental well-being and whole being, we need to be aware of our intimate desires. Because if we are not aware of our design, and unconsciously we just repress or trying to suppress them, because we're thinking, oh, those desires are not deserve to be satisfied, to be met, then we can have them attack us through our most weakest channel, such as the example of a father who got jealous when his wife gave birth to a baby, and because he thought that, okay, the baby now is deserved the mother's whole full attention, and he got jealous, but he didn't admit to himself that he got jealous, because he felt that it was impossible for a father to be jealous of his own son. But as a matter of fact, he was jealous, and by repressing or trying to suppressing this emotion, he got a back pain. And it turned out to be the real cause of his back pain is due to his jealousy, but not because he had to carry the baby for a long time, or he did a heavy job, lift a heavy weight. So the thing is, the lesson here we should be aware of is that we need to develop self-love, and we need to be able to recognize our own emotion, no matter how they are unreasonable, or no matter how they are unsocial. We have to recognize them as a part of being human, and by being recognizing them, we can let them out in a positive and creative way. We don't have to suppress them. We don't have to try to repress them, but by just recognizing them, we will be able to find a proper way to express them properly, so that they don't come back and attack us in another unhealthy way, such as developing a back pain or stomach ache or headache, or later on cancer, something like that. So I think this part is very important for its practical use for our well-being, because there's a strong relationship between our mind and our physical body. And from a broader perspective, that is always a relationship between what we want to achieve in the material world and our initial design. So that's why we need to be able to take care of our design and make sense of them, and try to sort them out, so that they can help us to motivate us to engage in beneficial, creative actions that is good for our well-being and the well-being of others and of the whole society. So that is the greatest lesson that I learned from this part related to mind over matter.
Thanks, Victoria. And that is a great connection to 8.4 as well, on the thinker. Because in 8.4 we get to learn about the thinker from Rodin, the statues, and Bradley poem is also tied to the thinker, and both of these emphasize the profound connection between the mind and the body related to creation, right? and it illustrating intellectual and physical effort are deeply intertwined in our creation. By thinking, we are actually creating, and this is a very, very godly ability, right? Because what we think in our mind will manifest to material result. And Bradley poem underscore this, that every physical creation is a manifestation of thought and intellect, reinforcing the importance of mental efforts behind physical labor. So our thought is extremely important. Word create words, and our thought will eventually materialize to our reality. So instead of leaving everything to, I guess, destiny or the influence of the outside world, we can actually take part in shaping our reality. And I do believe that that is actually the case whether we are aware of it or not. So instead of letting life happen to you, we now have the choice to letting life happen for us by focusing on good things, by giving value to our experience. And the thinker demonstrating that very profoundly. I see Victoria still have her mic on. Would you like to share something on this, Victoria?
Yeah, thank you, Ben. I would like to jump in because you touching to something very important, saying that we are responsible for the quality of our experience or of our life in general. So the quality of our life, of our experiences depends on our action, the quality of our actions. And the quality of our action ultimately depends upon the quality of our thoughts and of our desires. So and ultimately our design and our thought depends upon our view, our understanding of reality, of the how we view the world. So that's why when we elevate our awareness of reality and we gain insight, we can gain a vision of what would be the best for us as an individual or as a part of the society or of the world in a long term. And that's how when we do engage in action of the short term, we will be able to make sure that our short-term interest wouldn't impact or make a negative impact on our long-term benefits. That's why as a leader, everyone here, I think, assume a certain responsibility as a leader of family, or simply as a leader of ourselves, of our own life, need to develop this vision. And this vision, we need to, if we can improve our vision by understanding, gaining deep understanding of the true and the principle of nature, then we will be able to lead our life into the direction of light, of enlightenment, and of pure and everlasting happiness and true freedom. So Ben mentioned this point is really a key point in our journey towards happiness, which is the destiny. We are the master of our own life and of our destiny. So no one else can take charge of that. So we need to take responsibility of our life, and because we have this responsibility, we need to learn and to develop our deep learning so that we gain insight into life and into the how the universe and ourselves function and work. So thank you, Ben, for this wonderful sharing.
Thanks, Victoria, and thank Jane Chilling for sharing the YouTube link to the movie The God Must Be Crazy, and Jasmine sharing the poem about the thinker. And I want to end today's discussion by with a reminder. Okay, so even though there are times in our life where we might experience suffering and negativity, and knowing that what we have in our mind shape our reality, I also want to share with you that it's okay to suffer, because it is not about suffering. It is about the opportunity to overcome that suffering. Okay, so we have been discussing that mind over body, how the mind shape reality, and I just want to remind myself and sharing with everyone that it is okay to suffer sometimes, because we will get to learn the lesson. And there's a song that I would like to share with you before we end, and we can discuss that a little bit. And this idea that I have learned from Thich Nhat Hanh, I believe, in Buddhism, is the idea of no mud, no lotus. As in order to have beautiful lotus, right? In order to have this lotus blooming, rising above the mud, rising above the water, the lotus actually have a humble beginning. The seed had to dive deep into the mud, and then through that nutrition, it was able to grow, and it rises above the water, and is bloomed to be beautiful. So I would like to use the last 8 minutes that we have to share with you the song very quickly. And if you would like to, we can discuss that a little bit before we end. So let's do that real quick. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for joining us in this journey. So let's try this.
In the dark we grow, rains come down, we flow, mud beneath our toes, feel the pain it shows. Through the storms we climb, in the night we find, roots go deep in time, scars will heal with rhyme. No mud, no lotus bloom, out of the dark we shine, push through the pain and gloom, stars in the sky align, heal the wounds and rise, tears like rivers dry, see the dawn surprise, sun kiss the morning sky. Strength in every tear, battles fought and clear, what was lost is near, heartbeats without fear. No mud, no lotus bloom, out of the dark we shine, push through the pain and gloom, stars in the sky align, heal the wounds and rise, tears like rivers dry, see the dawn surprise, sun kiss the morning sky. No mud, no lotus bloom, out of the dark we shine, push through the pain and gloom, stars in the sky align.
Right. Well, thank you very much for joining us this week. And just just a quick reminder that even though we understand that our thought shape our world, and even though there might be time that we feel like we are struggle with life, I'm sure all of us have those moments. But just know that it's just part of our growing, part of getting closer to our goal and our dream. Just like what Mr. Roger Bannister did. He not only broke through his limitation, but he actually broke the entire world limitation. And thanks to that, people learned how to accomplish the impossible. And no matter how bad the experience might seem at the time of struggle, just know that it's just another opportunity to learn to be better. So it's all about love, right? When good thing happen, we enjoy it, we appreciate it, and when thing doesn't go our way, it's just another way of the universe to tell us that we have got to make a change. We have got to work through it somehow, so that we can be a better person. So once again, thank you so much for joining us, and let's play that song one more time before we go, and I will see you next week. And I appreciate each and every one of us.
In the dark we grow, rains come down, we flow. Mud beneath our toes, feel the pain it shows. Through the storms we climb, in the night we find roots go deep in time, scars will heal with rhyme. No mud, no lotus bloom, out of the dark we shine. Push through the pain and gloom, stars in the sky align. Heal the wounds and rise, tears like rivers dry. See the dawn surprise, sun kiss the morning sky. Strength in every tear, battles fought and clear. What was lost is near, heartbeats without fear. No mud, no lotus bloom, out of the dark we shine. Push through the pain and gloom, stars in the sky align. Heal the wounds and rise, tears like rivers dry. See the dawn surprise, sun kiss the morning sky. No mud, no lotus bloom, out of the dark we shine. Push through the pain and gloom, stars in the sky.